And I had mentors and friends that would say, even my parents, you need to kind of start your own thing. Think about start. They just know I love to serve. They know I love students. And I said, that sounds really good, but I really don't have a do my own thing bone in my body. That's just not my giftedness. We thank God for those that can do that. But I said, and I didn't even really form it as a prayer. I didn't really think much about it. But I remember saying, I don't really feel led to start my own nonprofit or ministry. However, if there's a ministry out there that is kind of in their second, generation of leadership and they just need somebody young and enthusiastic to come in and take over, I said I could do that. Lo and behold, was looking for opportunities, didn't really find any, so I broadened my search and ended up in Midland. And I'm so glad that I'm here.
Hi, welcome to the Good Work West Texas podcast. I'm your host, Cindy Payton, alongside Leslie Crisp. And today we're having a conversation with Jainah Clark from Teen F.L.O.W and Kristina Leigh Johnson. She's a great community member, and she's also on the board at Teen F.L.O.W. So we're just excited about having a conversation with you guys. And thank you for being here and sharing more about your stories and what Teen F.L.O.W is doing and the community. Our goal really of this morning and just talking to you is really just to know the good work that you're doing in the community. And so we feel like it's really important to share that with people so that we know a lot of times we get negativity in the community. And so we want to be about really having a positive outlook on the ways that individuals in the community, it's the people that are making the difference and where are they making the impact. And so we really just are excited about learning more about what you guys do and your roles in the community and giving back. So thanks for joining us. So
Thanks for
anyway,
having us. Yes.
yeah. So Jainah, we'll just start with you. Tell us a little bit about your role, what you do in the community, um, and your work with Teen F.L.O.W, and we'll start there.
Yeah, well, I get the privilege and joy to be the executive director at Teen Flow. And so that means just what it sounds, just
Yeah,
get to work with the staff, the board of directors, and most importantly, the students, just the everyday operations of the ministry. And so it's just a joy to be there. I started at Teen Flow in 2021. And
okay.
so this is my fourth year at Teen Flow. And so it's just been a joy and a privilege ever since.
That's good. So tell us a little bit about Teen F.L.O.W, and when you say you're working with students, what are the students like from their perspective? Why do they come to Teen F.L.O.W? What's their hope in just making those connections with people there?
Yeah, so Team Flow has been in operations in Midland serving teens for 25 years.
Oh,
This year, actually, 25 years. And we serve students that are underprivileged and underserved here in Midland. And so we create an environment for them to come to have fun. Our motto is entertain, then educate. And so we have a lot of activities for them, we feed them. But most importantly, our goal and mission is to make leaders. And so we're all about leadership development, and we do that through the gospel of Jesus Christ.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about Kristina. We know you're on the board. So chime in a little bit about what your role is there
Okay.
and what you do as a board member.
Yeah. I'm not sure how long I've been on the board. A little bit before you
Before I
came.
got here, yeah,
Yeah. And then she
at
came
least
in. I
five
mean,
years.
God brought her in, and Jainah has been incredible, the work she's doing. So the organization has been so blessed with her leadership as she is fostering just these skills into the students that she is serving. And so I am just part of the board. So I'm not boots on the ground like everything Jainah's doing. I'm just kind of coming up with ideas for fundraisers and helping spread the word. And really, that's it. So the true work is happening there at Teen Flow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about um, just your current things that we know that you have some programs that are really important for people to know about. We always want to help people know how to get engaged and what that looks like for them if they want to give back, either through dollars or time. What are different ways that people can get involved with Teen Flow?
Yeah, well, Christina mentioned the fundraising, which is a huge aspect. It really is because our programs are completely free to
Okay.
the families that we serve. And so we offer transportation. We pick up at the schools and drop every student off home after program. We take them safely to their doorstep, each student. And then we also provide meals every time our doors are open. And so there's a lot to do with picking up students, driving, serving meals, but also it takes funds for all of that to happen for the students. And so we have plenty of opportunities to give or to serve. We also have mentors that are community members and leaders that they don't have to know the Bible, front and back, but they just come and commit to the students every single Tuesday for the entire year and lead a small group table and walk with them, just do life with them, for the entire year. And then our founder, Jay, I love the way he puts it. He says if they want to see the fruit of their labor, then they'll stay an additional year and then a year after that. And we have several that do so, and then we also have motivational speakers that are business professionals, educators, those in Midland that are just making a difference in the community. They come and share their story
Mhm.
with the teens and they get to ask them questions.
That's good. I love that there's just different aspects of people being able to be involved. I think that for a volunteer or somebody giving their time, that you're like, okay, what's the commitment, and they want to do it well. I think that's the thing. They want to know that they can make a difference and give back. And so whether it's a skill set of cooking, or whether it's, hey, I can drive a bus, or is it technically a bus, or is it a
Technically a van.
like a
So you don't
van?
have no
Okay,
CDL,
no
just your
CDL.
regular
No,
license.
okay,
Yes.
that's good, because I know that's
15
scary
passenger
for
van.
people.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So that takes away just but that opportunity.
Mhm.
I love. So tell us just a little bit. You joined Teen Flow in 2021, but what did it look like? Tell us a little bit of your story of how you have you been in Midland your whole life? Is there something that drew you to just helping and serving teenagers, or
Yeah.
what did that look like?
Definitely have not been in Midland my whole life. I actually didn't know where Midland was at on the map until
Okay. Okay.
until I moved here. And now I'm so glad that I love it here. I love the people. I love the community. It's just a blessing to be a part of a place like Midland, which I feel sometimes is misunderstood. A lot of
Absolutely.
my friends back home, and even sometimes people here, they're like, you came from Dallas. I relocated from Dallas.
Okay.
But ever since I've moved here, I've really enjoyed it. I've, of course, Teen Flow and the ministry there, but the community at large. Um, but my background, I am a PK, a preacher's kid. And so my parents have served in full-time ministry to inner city communities for over 35, 40 years. And they were actually just here last couple of nights ago for one of our Teen Flow events. But that's what I've just grown up in it. And so before I moved here from Dallas, I was serving in homeless ministry, serving the least, the lost, and the lonely there in the heart of downtown Dallas. And COVID hit, took opportunity to go back to seminary, get my master's online, and did that, and was kind of just found myself in a transitional period. Didn't really know what was next, since I had that big question. And I had mentors and friends that would say, even my parents, you need to kind of start your own thing. Think about start. They just know I love to serve. They know I love students. And I said, that sounds really good, but I really don't have a do my own thing bone in my body. That's just not my giftedness. We thank God for those that can do that,
Yeah.
Christina and all those others in the community. But I said, and I didn't even really form it as a prayer. I didn't really think much about it. But I remember saying, I don't really feel led to start my own nonprofit or ministry. However, if there's a ministry out there that is kind of in their second, generation of leadership, and they just need somebody young and enthusiastic to come in and take over, I said I could do that,
That-
because I've been doing that with alongside my dad for so many years. And I
yeah.
said, specifically, I wanted to get back working with teens, because in homeless ministry, working with adults, there's just once you get to a certain age, 25 and above, there's just less reception and a little bit more pushback to what you know is good for people. And so, but when I had younger clients that were in their early 20s, late teens, early, teenagers, adolescents, they were always so hungry. What do I do? What do I, what, how can I make better choices? And I said, you know what? I think I need to start working with teens again. And lo and behold, was looking for opportunities, didn't really find any. So I broadened my search and ended up in Midland. And I'm so glad that I'm here.
That is I did not know that. I love that. I love that. And just the willingness to see how God had used the homeless ministry and just your experiences in in among that population, and then saying, okay, God, what is the next step for me? And willing to push into that and go back to school. I think that's not everybody's story, but I think I love that because it really probably set you up to be able to really lead well, not only in just meeting the needs of kids, but teaching and all those kinds of things that now you have opportunity for. So
I'm glad that you said, hey, let me see who needs a great leader and something that's already started versus, oh, let me move to Midland and start my own.
Yeah.
Because we cannot, Cindy and I cannot get the exact number. I don't even know where to go. So if anybody is listening and you can give us the exact number and you can tell us where to go, call me. I would love to know the real exact number. But we've been told somewhere between 1,300, 1,200, somewhere in the thousand range of nonprofits here in we've been told Midland and we've been told Permian Basin. Another piece of information we haven't been able to nail down. But that's not what we need is more and more and more nonprofits just to constantly be started. I personally am glad to see that you stepped in to one that was already started and just went in to carry that torch and make it better, if you will. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad that
Yeah, I've
that
heard
you
something
did that.
similar too. I don't know exactly, but I that was one thing that I was surprised by coming here from such a big city was that more nonprofits per capita. And I've heard the same Midland,
Yeah.
Permian Basin. I'm not sure, but that was surprising as well. But there's just so many people have been doing great works, for so long. And J. Marie Marquez are our founders at Teen Flow. And there's just so many great initiatives that are already planted. And they
Mhm.
just need people to come in and water and help them continue to grow for years to come. So,
Yeah. With Leslie and I, at Every Neighbor, we get to talk with lots of nonprofits and get to talk to businesses and churches and all different kinds of people in the community. But I think what we continue just to realize is there there is such generous people, such visionary people who have started all these nonprofits who see a need and they want to solve it. And we love that. But we also realize that comes with a challenge of people, okay, well, if I could even name 50, could I? I mean,
yeah.
and if I wanted to go serve somewhere, well, how would I know that that really fit? And so that's what we really want to, press into people. It's not just about the time of am I available on Tuesday? But it's really it's more than that of like, hey, do I just want to meet kids where they are and pour into them? And I don't have to have a special skill set necessarily. I just have to generally like kids and we can play basketball or there's different opportunities for people to get engaged in that. And so
For sure.
I just we want to help match that need that we see in the community of people have stories and people have skill sets that are so important to be given back and to make our community stronger. And so just helping direct people in that. So I love that you said yes to Midland. I know that the board must feel that way, but we and I love just it speaks to the next generation of people rising up that are your age and saying, yes, I can contribute. And make it better and, just continue to grow it. And so
Definitely.
I love that.
I'm
Yes.
curious if you have any stories of, because 25 years is enough time to see a teen go from a teen full blown into adulthood. I'm curious if you have any stories of teens who were students, if you will, of the program who now have turned around and they are a part of the organization or give back or serve in any way. I love to hear those stories where things are weaved.
And that's
Most
how
definitely.
I got brought in.
Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So the president of our board is Edwin Sanchez, and so he is a builder, and he's a great builder. He and Jaime Ramos are Ashington Homes, and I have worked. So I'm in the design field and construction, and I've worked with them for years and years. And Edwin was always telling me about Teen F.L.O.W, and he goes, "We really need you on the board. We want some ideas on fundraisers." And I said, "I just don't know that I can do that." And he kept asking year after year, and finally I said, "I'm going to go tour the facility. You're asking me every year. Maybe God's working on me to do that." But then what was really impactful is to learn that he was a product of Teen F.L.O.W. And so that is when you go, okay, whoa, they're building leaders. And here is one that I'm working with that is a leader. And it is the fruits of what's happening. And it was just, it's just an incredible full circle when you start realizing all of these incredible leaders that came from Teen F.L.O.W. Then now you put something that with like Jainah, who's an incredible executive director that God brought us, and you're like, yes, we're 25 years in, but there's so much more. So much more that can be done. And especially now, I feel like we're positioning, especially if people write checks. So
right.
don't hesitate. Donate freely.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So, well, okay. So, Kristina, I want to leave it with you a little bit of, um, not only you've told us a little bit about the board and your impact, and then just working with people there that are been a product of Teen F.L.O.W. But tell us a little bit about your story and your background of what you are doing in the community, and then really, what was it that just made you say, you know what, I can contribute in this way to what Teen F.L.O.W is doing? Was that a little bit of a journey? Um,
It was. Edwin
not
could
only
attest
being
it too.
asked.
Not a little bit, a few years of a journey
Yeah.
of being asked. So, my passion is design. So anybody who knows me knows that I feel like design can change legacies. It can change cities. It can change how people feel about themselves within the city. Design impacts how you live in your home every day, whether it's a mobile home or an apartment or a large home. I mean, really, design is impactful. And so for me, where I plug into the community and where my passions lie is I feel like God has given me the ability to understand space and planning and vision casting and things like that. So that's really where I get plugged in to the community. And even with Teen F.L.O.W, whenever I came on, it was more from the idea of vision casting. What kind of fundraiser could we have, and where could we have it, and things like that that really play into, I feel like, the skill set that I have. I couldn't executive direct, I couldn't podcast, I couldn't do all these other things, but I can design for you.
Yeah,
So
that's good. It's good. And I will say, I know that you started your Fallapalooza. That was last year the first year of
Last
that?
year was the second
The
year.
second year, the second year. But this year you hosted it at Summit Center
yes.
that had just barely opened. I think we had that
Yeah.
discussion.
We were racing to get it ready for
Right.
Fallapalooza. And we were so excited to land on that. One, I love pumpkins. So if I wasn't a designer, I'd be a pumpkin farmer because I love pumpkins. So it was a little selfishly motivating. But I mean, there's not a ton of exciting things other than pumpkin patches, around that time. And so we felt like it was a great opportunity to include the whole family. And so Summit Center being a venue that our family just felt like God put on our heart, that we've got to really show that innovative design can be impactful and philanthropy can be impactful. And so we had the vision for a private park open to the public. So it doesn't cost the public anything. It's actually a private park, but you can come use it, and all the tenants that surround it can use it. And it's been so exciting to see. And we were able to kick off with the second ever Fallapalooza. The first one was at my home because Summit Center wasn't ready.
Okay.
So the vision was always that it was going to be at Summit Center, but with construction in West Texas, things just don't wrap up on time. Usually you add a good solid year onto that deadline. And so that's where we were. But then it was great, and we're looking forward to hosting it there again. So
Good. Good. Well, thank you for just seeing that vision for the community as well, because I think that you've been given just this amazing vision for what communities can be, what spaces are for people. And I think it's really important just to see that skill set and to say, okay, what is my passion? Where can I make a difference? And then also see of how you can partner and collaborate with other people to even make them bigger and more, aware in the community. And it's really about that working together in the collaboration of
Agree.
um, private, private individuals can really, just make an impact there along with, what you're doing, and then have a great community event where Teen Flow's known more so, and then families can be a part of that. And
And
so,
we've been even trying to update the Teen Flow facilities. So as
yes,
I would go,
yes,
every month to a board meeting and I would walk in and I was like, there's things we could do here, I
that's,
mean, just
yeah,
the vision of that. And so we have been able to do some really neat design upgrades. We have some more planned in the future. And I mean, you can talk more about the impact of it, but I think that was also exciting from the standpoint of the actual facility that we've got going.
Absolutely. And one of the projects, which was a huge, huge, huge help, I can't say it enough. Last year, I believe, was the driveway. We have five, well, now six vehicles for
wow,
program vehicles that go all around town, picking up kids from school and then taking them home. And our parking lot is kind of tight. And so they were just kind of parked in the parking lot, and we would load the kids on the curb on the side of the curb after every
right.
program. And so Kristina came in and saw that we could do that better, and so we now have a driveway,
Yeah, I went
which
and
is
designed,
amazing.
a new layout for driveway
Yes,
and entry and
and so the kids now they pull up on the van in the driveway and they go right in to the side door, and then we load up by side. We split into six different directions
That's
all over the town, and they're able to load the van safely and get home. So that is a huge, huge
huge.
deal. And then we've got turf added in the front where they do all their games and things, and so they love that.
That's
yeah, we'll be adding a
awesome.
pergola. Yeah, some people have fun playing pickleball. Some just really enjoy space planning. So it's fun and exciting.
I know, I know. I love that because that's how God uses all of our gifts, and you get
Yeah.
to see it play out in real life. And so
Yeah.
I love that. So,
I'm curious just for our listeners, because until I joined Cindy in this endeavor, I didn't really know what Teen Flow did or who could be involved. And I know you had mentioned for underserved, underprivileged teens,
Mhm.
but just curious for any of our listeners that might be like, well, I wonder if my teen could go there, or do they only pick up at schools on this side of town? Or could you give a little bit of maybe details on who can be involved and what schools you guys work with or pick up from?
Yes, great question. So we have a great partnership with MISD, and have had for years. And so we go to all of the MISD junior highs and high schools. And then every once in a while, just kind of depends on the year. We have a student that is at a private school this year, but he's a part of the program. And so we go and pick him up from there. We have students at YWLA as well. We've gone to Coleman. So really wherever the students are, we're going to make a way for them to, we don't want there to ever be a barrier for a student not to attend.
yeah.
And so we're going to make sure that they, if it's not a regular school that we go to,
Mhm.
but we're at Goddard, SJ, Alamo. We're at both the freshman campuses, Legacy High and Midland High. And so we're pretty spread out, but if there's
Yeah.
somewhere that we're missing that a student wants to attend, we make sure to make that happen. And the registration process, we have just a one-time registration form that covers transportation and health and meals and all of that, allergies, that the parents sign once, and then they're good for the whole year, and then we'll renew it every year.
That's awesome.
Mm.
I love that. Thanks for making it easy for people to know and to get engaged, because I think that that's a big part. Parents want places that they can have for their kids, and just to know that they're being taken care of, and making that process pretty simple. So, um, I I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier, just people in our lives who are impactful, and I think that those are the stories that we want not only to inspire that, you know, but who would you say, we'll start with you, Jaina, just who would you say, I know you mentioned your parents, but were there other people involved in just your life that you feel like in just mentored you, inspired you in some way to just know about serving? Like, how do I give back? What does that really look like?
Yeah, love this question. I say often that I am a kind of a byproduct of Teen Flow, even though I didn't grow up here in West Texas. I didn't know about Teen Flow
Yeah.
until I moved here, but I've there's never been a time that I haven't had a mentor in my life. I've just been blessed to be able to have that. And so I have several mentors that through high school and middle school, high school, and even college. And then I had people in my life that they saw potential in me and leadership in me before I even saw it in myself, that took a chance on me. That this quiet, shy girl, they saw that, she could lead. So one I would say is his name is Bruce Butler and his wife Sharon Butler, and they are CEO of Union Gospel Mission, where I got part of my start in Dallas, Texas. And he told me, I really see your heart. I really see, that you love to serve, you love to give back, and I think you could be one of our primary chaplains for the ladies. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. I'm still working through college, but that gave me the confidence to, and I stumbled throughout, along the way, but it really encouraged me, and not only to step into the calling that the Lord had for me, but also to be able to then have that perspective. So when students go through our program or young adult staff come on, we give them a chance. They're working through school, they may not have their degrees yet, but we're able to see leadership in them and build them up. And so it
Right.
gave me the heart to do that as well.
I love that.
Mhm.
Love that. What about you, Christina?
Man, that's a tough one. So I can't think of any specific handful of people. I have been so blessed to actually be surrounded by so many incredible people who live out their faith that I almost feel like I feel like I'm a field that you look like it's ready to harvest, and it's ready because so many seeds have been planted, and it's little seeds, and it's not just one giant thing. It's all of these little things over time, and then you step back and you're like, okay, that's how you got to where you got. And I think that's just I'm so grateful that God's path for me was so much goodness in adults that were around me, whether it's through, of course, my home, my in-laws, my church family, Sunday schools, just friends, my children's friends' parents. Like, it's incredible to have all of these people who you wouldn't actually say are mentors outright, but are still just day to day mentoring you, just little bits all the
Yeah.
time.
Just that awareness to watch. You don't realize people are watching
Yeah.
and observing, and the importance of really what it looks like you've described, just this legacy of
Yeah.
people that have gone before you, and you're able
Yes.
to either have that hands-on,
Yes.
day to day, or it's, hey, it's from a distance. And I love both of those answers because I think they're both
Yeah.
incredible when you think about like the importance of having, you know, having that. But I think also I've talked to some people who have said, I read books, or I have somebody that I've never even met, that just the story of what they're doing, or the picture that I'm able to read through a book, or through listening to interviews and things like that, I see them creating legacies and something that I can follow. And I think that that's just, it goes back to leadership at Teen
Mhm.
Flow, of what you want to instill in students. There's some of those very tangible things, but then there's also just being in a place of community where there's people that you can trust and lean on,
Yeah.
you know, in those situations.
And
So
I think everybody has such specific strengths that God has given them that you can learn from each. So my mom is endlessly giving of her time and loving. Well, you learn that. And my dad does things with excellence. He's a craftsman. And then my husband and his parents, just generosity and how to do some of these things. So you look at all of these things and go, wow, in all of these different areas, there's all of these examples of excellence in all of these different ways that I
yeah,
get to kind of pull
yeah,
from.
it just shapes you.
Yes.
And that's what I would love just our listening audience to know, is that to kind of take a step back and look at what are those things in your life? Who are those people? What are those experiences that have really shaped you to be able to say, I have friends that say, and I've struggled with that myself of just being like, I don't know if I really have anything to give back. I don't know that I have a talent. I can't be a Christina and, space design, but it's helping people realize that God does give people gifts and he gives us stories and experiences that we just have to take time to look and see what those are. And for some of that, it's connecting. For some other people, it's going to be a specific skill set, of craft or whatever. So just being able for people to see that no matter who you are in your story, that God has a place, for us to serve and to find out where that is. And so I love that.
But at
So
the end of the day, all of this comes back down to one key component, which would be relationships. It wasn't how much the CEOs of the company of the ministry knew.
Yeah.
It was the fact that they believed in you. There was a relationship there. And Christina, what I'm hearing is it was all of these relationships that actually
Oh,
poured into your life and you were able to see their lives being lived. And
yes.
so I think that comes full circle to what you guys are doing at Teen Flow and asking people, hey, just come be a part of these teens' lives. Let's just mentor them, if you will. That can be a scary
Yeah.
word,
Yeah.
but really it just means let's just have a relationship
Right.
with them, be people they can trust, a person that shows up constantly in their life. And that's really, I think, what
Mhm.
makes the biggest difference for all of us is just somebody shows up or somebody is consistently there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
absolutely. So if there was something just from I'm going to ask you Teen Flow perspective, or it can be bigger than that. But if you had a dream of just like, okay, God's planted you in this season in West Texas, He's placed you at Teen Flow. What are dreams and goals that you have as the ministry of where you would like to see, is it the number of students? Is it, what are some dreams that you guys have for Teen Flow?
Well, one dream is always we always want to reach more and more students. One of our part of our program is that we go into the schools also. We partner with the organization called First Priority. Recently, years before, we go in as Team Flow and just build relationships with the students. And so you see the need. You see that. I mean, we serve about 400 students, for the year, but then through our outreach program, we're reaching 1,500, 2,000 kids a week through that. And so there's always more. We are always looking for ways to get more kids involved. But then I think about just expansion, and there's so many needs for Team Flow other places. We have so many kids that are in transit, broken homes, and so they may be here for the summer, and then you know something happens in their family and now they're no longer in Midland. And that happens actually very often with our students. And I always, it just breaks my heart. They'll follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And so they keep up with the
Yeah.
ministry. They always miss it. And it just breaks my heart that their comment is, I wish there was a Teen Flow here. I wish there was a way for us to stay connected here. And so we've tried to work with that a little bit. We've got an app now, and so we go live on our app. And so if they're not here in Midland anymore, they can still stay connected. But I mean, we would love to be able to expand in a way and see what that might look like, so that just even outside of Midland, kids can get that leadership and get that love from mentors, and do so in a way that Team Full has a specific model that I can't take credit for, that the founders and founding members and board members over the years have created, and it's very spirit led and very prayerful. Everything's prayerfully considered, and so we're more than an open gym, more than, I mean, the program is very rich, and there's just so many communities that need it. So
Well, and I love just the realness that if you've got people involved in their lives that um it's messy. I mean, and being okay with that and being able to walk through that with families and students to say, "Hey, we're here for you during those seasons." And by that expansion, that could be really cool just to, so yeah, that's that's awesome. Christina, what about you?
So for me, I think it's getting to just hopefully look back even years from now and see all of the alumni that have come from it, that are now leaders, whether they're here or they're in a different community, but that the point of this is raising up godly leaders, and then in turn them pouring in and doing the same. So you see just this legacy, as we've talked about, that's being built. And so I just think my dream forward is that I keep running into more Edwins, that was a product of it, that is a great member of the community, and that it's just showing the fruits. And I think that that will continue because it is an organization that is prayerful in all they do. We have excellent leadership. And so I think God's working in it. But that's definitely my goal, is just, is to see this exciting yearbook of alumni, to go, okay, this is incredible. This is how God has been working.
I love that.
One of my favorite things to hear, and I think it happens more than we realize, but I just don't hear about it super often, is that the partnerships of nonprofits.
Mhm.
So I love to hear that you partner with another nonprofit instead of just going to do your own thing in the school, but I'm assuming first priority was in the schools.
Yes.
And so partnering alongside and just strengthening their efforts to also, get better reach for your efforts. I love to hear that. I do think it happens more than we know, but I'm curious if it happens enough. If there would be more opportunities for nonprofits to partner with each other for the better good of the community and the Permian as a whole. But yes, I do love to hear that you guys are doing that partnership.
Yeah, I believe that no, no one nonprofit, can do everything. We're not, we can't be a food pantry. We offer meals, of course, when we have our program. But when kids need extra resources, I love that I can reach out to those that are in the community doing that, clothing, financial help, um, housing, and things like that, mental health as a big thing with our students. And so being able to connect with the professionals who are doing it and doing it well, and then they do the same, with us. We can They can send us students and things like that. I just had a student that was going through a really difficult situation at home, and found his new home at Base and Dream. And so, things like that. And so we're in connection with each other and able to still support that student together.
I love that.
And what y'all are doing is important because a lot of it is just like y'all said in the beginning, it's knowledge. So y'all are spreading awareness of what organizations are out there, and that's really hard to do. Is for there to be a broad understanding of
Yes.
all of these that are out there. So I think it's great what y'all are doing.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And I also think that just as we network with nonprofits, but also just with businesses and churches and individuals in the community, to see like there's such a bigger vision of what we need as a community to make us stronger, not only in Midland, but in our region. We have great generosity, but we also need to be matched with nonprofits that are seeking to work together on things that they're providing efficiencies, like you were run like a business. I mean, um, and I think it's important for people that are donors to know this is a trustworthy nonprofit that I can put my dollars into and know that there's going to be a return. And I can so a lot of times just being faithful to be in the community and talk about what you're doing and being transparent and inviting, whether that's business owners or church members, to be on the board and to be a part of the everyday weekday happenings for you guys. It does just build that trust in the community. And I feel like sometimes, it's who can you trust, and so I just we learn to love just the transparency and the people that really want to do good, and they're totally transparent about not only just their programs but financing, and they have the support of the community. So I think it all makes us thrive and flourish where we are. But um do you have a question, or is it time for our little surprise?
Oh, it's a surprise.
I don't think I have any more questions.
Okay.
All right.
Do you guys have a question for us? And then we'll say the surprise. But do y'all have a question for us?
Oh, let me think. I'm sure I do.
And I just want to echo Kristina as well that it was just a no-brainer when I heard about Every Neighbor and what you guys are doing to connect not just people to our organizations so that we can, of course, further the volunteerism and funding, but like you mentioned, collaboration is just huge. And so it's been a huge help. Even with events, there's so many fun events and initiatives to get behind, as we talked about earlier. And so you never want to overlap and things like that. And so it just, it helps with all of that, just brings clarity and collaboration. So just grateful for the opportunity to be able to connect with y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. It does. Okay, so we have a surprise. Leslie's gonna shake the bag.
Not a
Okay, so I'm gonna hand this to you, and you're gonna draw
Okay.
something out. It's actually so just to give a little backdrop to it. Um, Leslie and I just thought it would be fun for you guys to draw out of this piece of paper. There's all kinds of different quotes on it.
Okay.
And some of them are just about life or service or just, so we're going to let you take a draw and then whatever read it and then tell us a little bit about your thoughts or maybe an experience that where that quote might have come into play in your life. So
Love that.
And I still think I have a question. I was thinking on my question.
you're still thinking, okay,
No,
well,
it's fine.
no,
I'll do
there's no order in this. So
Okay, this says, be thankful for what you are now and keep fighting. Be thankful for what you are now and keep fighting. Oh, I like that. I love that. It makes me think about, because it is, it's challenge. It's not easy
absolutely.
being in the, service and nonprofit. There's all kind of challenges. And for me personally, being away from my family and, it's just a little road trip away, but Texas is so big. So sometimes it feels like further away, but just in those challenging moments, it reminds me to have that heart of gratitude, which is an encouragement to keep on going. So I like that.
That's awesome.
I like that.
I love it. I love it. And thanks for just being honest, because I think that sometimes we take for granted the hard work that it is. In whatever, there's going to be challenges. That's what scripture says. It's not if, it's when. And so just that encouragement to keep on. I love that.
I hope mine doesn't have a big word. I'm super dyslexic.
Okay, I'm gonna let you take that.
Hopefully
I'm
I don't
not
have to say
messing up
Jainah will
the-
read it for me.
Some of the quotes are like literally one word.
Maybe I'll look.
Maybe you'll get a one worder.
No, but it is short. Okay, if it doesn't open, it's not your door.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay.
That could be a mantra for my life. I've actually run into lots of shut doors. And so yeah, I think this is a tough one. I've actually just through all of my entrepreneurial career have struggled with, when do you know that it is a door that's just a little heavy, and when do you know it's a brick wall? And I don't know that I've actually landed on understanding that, other than going, okay, God, you're in control. And so I just every day one foot in front of the other. But I think this is really good, because I'm sure there's lots of people out there that it's hard to know the difference of when to keep pushing and when is it closed.
That's good.
Absolutely. I might tear up.
And we've all probably ran into that. And it
Yes.
is hard to know. It's hard to know
Yeah.
when it's
Yes.
when
Yeah.
it's
I always pray, God, please give me either just, like it's like the door's so open, the air is blowing you over. And I haven't gotten that yet. So
That'd be
So
too
there you go.
easy.
It'd be too easy.
I
That's right. Well, I
I
think the
know.
question I was going to have for you all is because you're talking to people all the time who are doing very inspiring things. What is inspiring you right now through all of that the most?
Mm. You want to go first?
I've lived here my entire life. I won't give away my age, but it's over 40 and under 45 and closer to 45. Um, and I have really just been inspired by the great work that is being done. And I know that sounds cliche. That's what we're talking about, the good work. But really, even living here my whole life, I didn't know a lot about our nonprofit sector. I didn't know a lot about what people were doing. I've worked in vocational ministry. I've been a nurse. Like I've been in seasons of my life where that's what we do is help people. But I've always been kind of siloed into, okay, this is what I'm doing to help people. And I never really had that larger view of what is really going on in our city. And I really thought I cared about our city. I mean, I think I do. I'm still here. I think I've always loved our city, but I wasn't highly in the know and really never took the time to be outside of my own little bubble. So I have really been inspired by the great work that is being done and to really see in our nonprofit sector specifically the selflessness that it takes to be in that space and how much of themselves they have to give and to give up for the least of these or whoever it is that they're serving. But I've also been inspired by the generosity of our community. I'm like, yikes, that's a big check. I'll never know. I don't even know how many commas that is of how much that our community does give back. And that has been inspiring to see the big dollars being given, but also the people who maybe all they can give is an hour of their time, but they give it with their whole heart. They may never have a dollar to give, but they are showing up for the teen every single week. So, really, there's a lot of good work that is being done. A lot of negativity overshadows that. And so, I'm grateful that Cindy has said, hey, let's just get on and talk about the good stuff.
Good stuff.
And because over the last 2.5 years, I've really been able to see a lot of the good stuff. So, I've been inspired by that.
Okay. I love that. I could say ditto to
Cheater.
everything she just said, but I won't. So it has. I think two. I'm going to give two different answers.
Yeah.
One answer for me is that the more I get in it, the bigger it is. Um, when you think about all the nonprofits, you think about the needs in our community. Um, I feel overwhelmed by it sometimes where I'm like, okay, it's just one step at a time.
Yeah.
And it's one nonprofit at a time. It's one business at a time. It's one conversation at a time. And so I think just realizing that to not, um, to just take where the Lord has us and being faithful to the step forward. There are challenges, I would say, across the board. Everything from just running a business and those kinds of things and learning um, in many ways along the path. But just to see the overwhelming need in our community to move forward and to be better connected and better informed about what's going on. So I love that, and I hope that we get the opportunity to continue to move down that path. I would say personally inspiring is when we do work alongside with nonprofits, um, to see the light bulbs go on. And I'm a process person, so I like to see efficiencies. I'm the person that walks into the room and goes, "Okay, that could be better." You know what I mean? Like so, and it's a gift and a curse. People that know me really well, we have jokes about how long, but I do. I think that God each gives us those things to see, and so when we walk into a nonprofit and we're able to provide, hey, do you have a current process of what you're doing here? What does that look like when you're communicating with people in the community? And, um, you're wanting to gain volunteers. How can we support you in that? And when I see those processes come into place for them, and then there's that piece where they're like, we hadn't had anything like this before.
Yeah.
Like, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
there's that satisfaction of the fight, because not the fight with the nonprofit, but
Yes.
just that fight for change in the nonprofit community is, I wouldn't say it's Mount Everest, but it's pretty tall. I mean, you realize that we get really comfortable in the way that we do things. And I don't think Midland is immune to that. We have a great, we do all kinds of great things in the oil field and, and technology and all those kinds of things. But I think when it comes to just nonprofits, challenging the status quo of how we communicate with people and how we really value them and value the volunteer. That's what we want to improve, and that's what inspires me when I see that results,
Yeah.
of that. So
Awesome.
anyway, but yeah.
Good.
Thanks so much for our
Yeah.
time. I loved it, and I love the stories and everything we've heard. And thanks for just being a part of the podcast. We love it.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
All right.